Brian Novak McSweeney. I don't want to talk too long, just want to say thank you all for coming here tonight. It's greatly appreciated. And I just also want to thank the other members of the program committee. And that would be Ellen Sherry and Patty Miller. And they've done a lot of work to make these events happen. We appreciate the library having us here and everybody being here tonight. And, we're a nonprofit organization, so we don't get any money from the government. We really rely on donations to keep the museum open and to make programs like this happen. So I know there's a lot of opportunities to donate when you think about that, but we hope you keep us in mind because it makes things like this possible. So I want to introduce our speaker tonight, Frank Quirarte, and Frank will tell you everything that I cannot tell you about his story. There'll be a lot of fun, a lot of history about Mavericks, and Frank is been a big part of the community for quite a long time, and it's my pleasure to introduce him. Have a hand for Frank.
Hi everybody, thanks everybody for coming. This is amazing. Didn't think this was going to be this many people. I'm not much of a public speaker. I'm learning as I go, so bear with me on that. Hope you're all enjoying this beautiful weather. This is pretty amazing. Like for surfers, this is, we love it. See some big waves. So anyway, the book, 28 Years at Sea, kind of self-explanatory with the title. It's been about 30 now. It took a minute to get it out, produced. So it's kind of like a snapshot into my life out at Mavericks and in big waves, because not only I started at Mavericks, but now I go all the way around the world. We go to all the big wave spots. I run the Mavericks rescue team. I also run rescue teams for all big wave events. We do movies. We do TV shows. I don't know if anybody has HBO Max, the 100-foot wave. Anybody see that? We did that. We won an Emmy for that this year, so that was really cool, really exciting. Also Big Wave Awards, and Mavericks won the biggest wave ridden at Mavericks and anywhere in the world with like a 100-foot wave just 2 seasons ago. So that's all in the book. So it's kind of cool. There's so much. Give you 10 books on all the photos I've shot for over 30 years, and it just kind of like picking the ones out for the book was just, it was so hard, right? What are you going to put in there, what are you not going to put in there? I'm not much of a writer, but after doing the book, I've kind of tapped into some of my editor friends. You've heard Bruce Jenkins, Chronicle writer. He's a big surf fan. He writes a lot for the surf world. Steve Hawk. Just a million of my friends, photographers, because the story wouldn't be complete if I just used my own photos. So my photographer friends, they donated lots of photos to really complete the story. So if you get a chance to breeze through it, it's kind of cool. I'm really happy the way it turned out. So who am I? What am I even doing here? I'm a lifelong surfer. I grew up in Pacifica. I'm a lifeguard. I was a lifeguard since I was a little kid. That kind of turned into this. We were out on jet skis most of our life. My parents had a houseboat up the lake, and my brothers all had jet skis, so that's where I learned how to, manage to ride in jet skis. Like a lifelong surfer, lifeguard, jet ski driver, all turned into this. So, what is this? I'm just going to show you what we show the kids. See, this is just a little glimpse into the doing rescues on jet skis.
Held down underneath the waves so deep but dark and getting thrashed, we've got no chance. We're completely powerless. A hold down of 40 to 50 seconds is enough to take a surfer to the edge of drowning.
Safety crews use their expertise and their knowledge of the ocean to make sure that the people that they're trying to protect are kept safe.
The single greatest threat is getting trapped in the impact zone and held underwater as successive 10-story waves explode overhead.
When you're underwater and you know there's somebody up there who's doing everything they can to help me right now, even if he can't help you, by believing in that person, it gives you confidence to just make it to the surface.
When you make the pickup, all that you're thinking about is connecting with that surfer, making sure that he's okay, scooping him up, getting him onto the rescue sled, and getting him out of harm's way. When you've saved somebody's life, you have a bond that you share forever. Traveling on a big wave, you're going 45 miles an hour. When you fall on water at that speed, it's like falling on concrete.
It can be a very lonely place because there's no one's going to come get you. Aquaman's not going to come underneath the reef there and grab you and bring you to the surface. There's no superheroes out there. I mean, the water safety is the closest you've got.
Each one of those guys, they'll put themselves on the line for guys that they don't even know, or guys they might not even like, because they don't think, oh, I should have, I could have, why didn't I? They do it.
The ski is a critical component, and without it, you wouldn't be able to get in between waves or in very sort of split-second scenarios where it's either you get in and get them now or they drown.
I'm thinking about one thing, the next wave that's going to hit him and how much time I have from where I am to get to him, get him on the ski, and get out of there.
When you come in, the foam is so thick that when you're driving the ski, it's sucking in air instead of water, and basically you can lose your ski. When you lose the ski, you're just watching like 15 grand slam up against the rocks.
Condition black is a term that the Coast Guard uses to basically describe the state of the ocean when it's at its rawest, most powerful, and most dangerous form.
That's just a ton of wipeouts that we put in there for the kids. The kids like to watch it. Yeah, so being on the water, being on the ski for that many years has helped me be a better photographer because it's allowed me to be able to stay in place, right? When somebody else would be running away from a big wave, I know exactly like when to leave, like when to get out of the way. And so yeah, being on the rescue team is just, running the rescue team has helped my photography tenfold. So we wear a lot of equipment to stay safe. It's not like surfers used to just show up and surf, right? Now it's a lot different. We train yearly, all year round. We have the new technologies or inflation vests that we all wear now. You have 4 chances that if you get held down, 4 chances to pull this inflation vest, and it just expands. There's 4 or 5 different cartridges in the CO2 cartridges that will expand. We all carry waterproof radios. We have 2 cliff spotters. We carry fins. If anybody was a lifeguard, we all carry our fins just in case we have to get out of trouble, usually just to take the ski out. Sometimes we wear helmets, sometimes we don't. But you can tell when you're out there driving a jet ski with one hand, this is the camera, like feel the weight of this camera. It's not light, right? So you're driving a jet ski and you're holding that camera up to keep it dry. It's hard. A lot of people use water housing, but we can't because being a rescuer, I have to stow this camera. So if someone goes down, we have a couple minutes. The wipe out takes a minute to pack, and I open up the front, throw my camera in there, close it back up, and then go in and do the rescue. I made like a little cocoon in my jet ski, and I can just literally throw it in there and put it down. But even though we're lifeguards and rescuers, we're not immune from getting wiped out. I've been wiped out, like you've seen the jet skis up there get wiped out. Yeah, and it's not fun. And like the guy said, 15 grand, that's an old video. There's 25 grand now, so when you lose a jet ski, it's heartbreaking, to say the least. So, so back to the book. So the way I put it together, I just there's no real, it's not in any chronological order, it's just a bunch of my adventures. And I've been so lucky to have so many. We went out to Hurricane Katrina, or the Mavericks rescue team, back after the hurricane, and we launched 6 rescue skis out there, and we worked out there for 2 weeks, and it was an amazing experience. I mean, it was tragic, but being able to help, and use our skills out there with the jet skis was pretty cool. There's some other just smaller stories. There's a bunch of photos. I have a couple more videos here I'll show you that are in the book. Let's show you a couple more videos and then we'll talk a little bit more, and then if you guys have any questions, fire away. This first one is from the 100-foot wave. When we went out to Cortez Bank. Cortez Bank is 110 miles west of San Diego. And we brought 45 people out there and 10 jet skis. So we had these huge boats that carried all the jet skis. We had other support boats, helicopters. We worked with the Coast Guard. They were out there with us. So it was quite the adventure. So let's just get an idea. We ended up staging at this boatyard where these big boats were parked, and we've been out there before. This was our 7th time out there, and we load all our gear, we load all our equipment, and then everyone just goes to sleep and they just cruise out there. It takes 8 or 9 hours to get out there, and we woke up that morning to this sunrise, and without any horizon to measure it, it was just all the way around you. You couldn't believe it. Everyone was just. All the nerves, getting ready to surf big waves were just gone. We were just greeted by this incredible sunset. And our friend Tucker, who shot this video, he's a drone pilot. He got it there and he shot the boat there. So that's the Cortez Bank. It's a logistical nightmare, but we've been doing it. We've done it so many times now. We have a really good grasp on how to make it happen, because you never know when you go out to these places if the waves are going to be good, right? Like any sort of surfing. And we woke up that morning and it was pretty spectacular. But there's another set of fish that love it out there. The great white shark. You saw the seals, right? So it's huge on our safety agenda, like to manage sharks, right? There's surfers and people in the water all the time. And so the rescue team has a code word called big fish, right? So just not to spook anybody, so if something happens, someone will just yell big fish, and then you get the jet skis and you ride around it, or you circle around the shark, they'll leave, they don't want any part of that. And as soon as we got out there, right next to us, the woman's husband was on the back of my jet ski, and he's tapping on my shoulder, and he's French, right? And he's like, front. And I'm like, hold on, look at this guy's catching a wave, right? Like, come on, we gotta do this. He's like, no, it's Frank. There's a shark. And I look down, and there's a great white shark right next to us, longer. The jet skis are 12 feet long. He was clearly 4 feet longer than the skis. So obviously, big fish came over the radios, and another one of the guys, his rescue sled got bumped later on in the day. So yeah, they're out there, and there's a lot of them. So no problems that time. But we're all prepared. We bring a doctor, we bring paramedics. All of us are EMTs, so we have tons of medical gear that we bring out. I don't know if you saw them doing that rescue. This is our rescue sleds that we use. These are attached to the back of the jet ski. You've probably seen the pictures in there. And if we train to help the surfers get on there. They train with us every year. We have an ocean safety summit here in Half Moon Bay. And it allows them to come and train with the rescue teams. So they're a lot safer. And if they miss the sled, which they do sometimes, we call these last chance ropes, they can grab onto that rope. Because anytime you do a rescue, it happens in 10 or 15 seconds. If you're not in there 10 seconds and on your way out, you're leaving them there and coming back and getting them. Because, like I said, I've been hit by a wave, and it's not fun. So yeah, it has to happen really quick. But we train for it, so it's not that bad. Yeah, so also in the book was the big day I told you about, the world record day that we had at Mavericks. that was another amazing day. There's so many times that we just wake up in the morning, we go out there, and we just don't know what we're going to expect, and we see days like that and days like this, and it's beyond incredible. We're so blessed to be a part of it, and that's why I wanted to put the book together, like to kind of convey that. And that's when my friends were teaching me how to write, and the first iterations were just trash, right, all in the bucket. And they're like, no, you're not conveying the drama, you're just writing it down. So they taught me to like convey the drama, of what's actually happening, because it is pretty dramatic. Like some of the days that we go out there. Some of the days are calm and mellow, but some of the days are pretty dramatic. So I'll show you. We have another video from the guy who shot the Cortez Bank stuff of the big Mavericks day. And you can see the difference in the texture of the Cortez Bank and Mavericks. It's just, like I said, every time you go out there, it's something different. This day was not inviting, and the waves were, 100 feet. So it's like, okay. There's people that live in Half Moon Bay that still can't even imagine that this goes on out there. get an idea how much power and how incredibly awesome it is to be out there. And I don't know if you noticed that it was Luca getting wiped out. He took 3 waves on the head, right? There's so much white water. The problem with these inflatable vests, if you inflate on the first wave, then you're going to stay on the surface. You know, you're not going to be able to dive down. So you're going to take every wave on the head. So we have to really watch out for the guys who do that, because it's kind of dangerous. I mean, it's great to get up and get some air, but you're just going to take all the rest of them on your head, because you can't go in and get them every time. So it's pretty tough. I'll just play some slides while we're talking. These are just some slides from that big day. Yeah, it's been an incredible ride. And now I've been working, I don't know if you know the Chase. So we have an incredible young surfer girl from Half Moon Bay. Her name is Zoe Chait. And she's been surfing big waves now for a couple years. She's a lifeguard. She works for the state parks lifeguard. I didn't see him sneak in, but there's another famous photographer here, but his name is Doug Acton. He's actually one of my mentors. So I'd give this guy a hand, because without him, I wouldn't even be in there. So thank you, Doug. Yeah. So yeah, Zoe's great. She's up and coming. She's a great surfer, and we just went down and did a contest at Todos Santos. And up until now, the girls have been doing great, and they're starting to compete with the men. But that event really, these younger women surfers, including Zoe, they really shined. And Zoe got second. Everyone thought she would have won it. She should have won it. But it's great to see, being part of this is to see, like Doug knows this. You've been out there, Doug's been out there longer than I have, and you just get to see all these generations of these surfers and their kids and all these people that come out and challenge themselves. And when we started out there, these guys would catch big waves and come to ski or whatever, and light up a cigarette, and just be all happy and drink a beer or whatever. Now they're seasoned athletes. They train year-round. They prepare themselves for it. When we were there was a handful of guys that we would hope to see come out, because me and Doug, because Doug and I, I'm glad he's here now. Doug, I worked for Surfer and Doug worked for Surfing, and we were always competing for the best shots, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool story. What we would do, because we didn't have digital cameras, we used slide film. So we would shoot, go out and shoot a day, shoot a session, and then we would leave as quick as we could, get our skis out of the water, and we'd run down to the new lab in San Francisco, and they would develop our slides in like 2 or 3 hours. So we would drop off our slides and then go to the Red's Java House and drink some beers and have a burger and just wait. And then we come back and just go through and see who got the best shot, because you sleeve up all your slides, and they have light tables that we can check it out.
Well, it's funny because we do our edits there, and you have these big light tables, and there was Frank, myself, and Don Montgomery, and we'd have all our slides on the light table, and Frank would go, "How much cover? How much cover?" Because we did with slides, when you saw a slide on a light table, good slides would pop. They would come alive right in front of you. You didn't have to use a loop, they would just jump out at you. So it was kind of like a game. We drop our slides off, go to the hotel in Utah, have a couple of beers, come back, and just start going through slides. And we met a couple of guys that worked at the counter, good friends of ours still, and they would come out and they'd look at everything and they'd just go, "Oh my God, where is this at?" And Fred would go, "That wasn't covered." I go, "Well, that was a 2-page, Fred. That was a single page." And that was back in the day when it was print, and our goal was basically get coverage, right, Frank?
Yeah.
And it was a great goal to get. Now the animals changed. It's digital. It's well, I don't want to bag on it, but it's kind of diluted. Whereas when you get a magazine, it's once a month, and those pictures were put into stone pretty much because.
And back in the day, they couldn't get enough of Mavericks in these big wave spots, so we were guaranteed to get published. And they would pay, Surfing would pay him, and Surfer would pay us a monthly stipend just to sit around here and wait for waves to show up. And then they pay for our film, they pay for if we got it in the magazine, they pay for that too, or is this, and then all of a sudden it was this.
Well, it's another typical story, but when I first got my first retainer with Surfing Magazine, Flame, who was the editor, would send me bricks of slides, and Frank didn't have his gig with Surfer set up yet, so I had so much slide film that I would just start giving it to him, because it wasn't like a competition like, I hate Frank because Frank's my competition. It was like we helped each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we were paving the way in photography in those kind of conditions because those are the harshest. I mean, I've shot skiing, snowboarding, all kinds of stuff out here at Mavericks. It was one life and death sometimes, and I have got with death and stuff. Frank too it adds to your photography and what you do to get the shot. But anyhow, to watch him do what he did up and beyond that is just amazing. It's like a student that just broke loose and.
Beyond a student, I was literally, I'm not a photographer. I don't even still consider myself a photographer. I was the monkey that they trained. You just like push this button, push this, pull that. When you go to the lab, tell them to push this and pull that. I'm like, my head just explodes.
I basically took Frank to class because he was a sponge. Everything that I would do, he wanted to do and do better. And that to me was fantastic because I watched him go from the beginning to where he's at now, and all I can say is it's a good journey. It's a great journey, actually.
No, it was. And Doug was one of the first photographers on the jet ski, not me. Like he was doing it before anybody.
Well, the thing is,
he was always in my way, and he was always in my shot.
Oh, I've had so many boats yell at me for being in their shot. It's like, hey, come on, man! I was on a boat in the beginning too. I evolved, and there was nobody who taught me anything. There was nobody out there on a jet ski. My friends from Maui just said, hey, you got to get on the jet ski and do it. Because if you do from boats, you're not going to get the shots you want. And it's a safer thing, it's less intrusive. Frank will tell you too, the boats that we're on were diesel, they smell, but when you get on a jet ski, you don't smell that anymore. I used to come home with headaches because the fumes were so terrible.
And all these boat drivers were abalone captains and abalone divers, and then they stopped commercial abalone diving or fishing. So they had to repurpose these boats so these maniacs would all come out to Mavericks and take all the photographers out. But some of them were truly shouldn't have been out there. And that's what made me transition. Like the last straw was on this one boat. He was a good skipper, but he just wanted to get everybody a lot closer, and he would back into the waves and back into this wave, and a set comes and he floors it, but he misses it, and we fly over the wave, and the thing lands, and both the engines stall. And these guys would say, go on the boat. I would always wear my wetsuit on the boat and a life jacket, always, because I'm jumping in. I'm jumping off that boat. And after that one, we got one engine started, and they towed us back in, but that was it. Tucked my brother into selling me. He sold me one of his jet skis and never looked back. Yeah. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and thank you, Doug, and you showed me the way. You paved the way for a lot of these photographers.
I used to see Frank come out on Jeff Clark's Zodiac, and it was with an 8 horsepower engine on it. And I would just go,
this is all in the book too, by the way.
Yeah, I would just I'd look at Frank and go, come on, get on the program here, and he finally did, and he got his brother to, did he buy you one?
No, I bought his.
Oh, yeah. But I remember when you broke down that one time, you towed it in across the Black
Many
River.
times.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I used to go out with Jeff. Jeff took me out in the early days on the Zodiac, and it had like a 25 horsepower Evinrude. And Jeff wasn't the best at maintaining this equipment. And we would get out, this thing would stall, and you'd pull it was a pull start, and you'd pull it, and the rope would come out of the outboard. So if it didn't start, your wave comes, you just have somebody like zing, 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 and bring it back up and move back out, and you're waving to Doug or somebody to come save us, but we had managed to survive it. Many Zodiac stories for sure.
Oh, my God. I even made that mistake too, going out on that Zodiac.
Yeah,
I just remember the string.
it's almost like a rite of passage to be on that thing. Especially with Jeff driving it too, because Jeff's great at navigating. His equipment maintenance wasn't the greatest. But yeah, so, you know, I think, I don't even know what time is it. What time is it? Oh, okay, we only have an hour, so if you guys have any questions, fire away. All in the back.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're not always able to get them. Whatever happened to, what happened to Jeff Wu when he died in the Mavericks competition? I'm not sure what year.
Mark Fu.
Mark Fu.
Yeah, that wasn't a competition actually, and actually Doug can tell you more about it than me.
Okay.
Want to give it back to Doug?
Mark's a friend of mine, and he called me from Hawaii. My photo editor called me, said, hey, Fu and a couple of his buddies, Bradshaw, want to come out.
A couple of the big wave pros from Hawaii.
Yeah, these guys are the leaders in the big wave scene. And I got a call from Mark that night going, hey, can you pick me up at the airport at 5:30? And it's like, no, I'm on the water just like right away. And so he showed up, paddled by our boat, and you know, we talked for a little bit, and then he got a wave and he wiped out. It didn't look like much, but still, any wave that decent size there can do you in. And so it was a 5-wave set, I think, and everyone got a really good wave, and then all of a sudden, everyone's gone on our boat. Where's Fu? Mike Parsons came back. He said he felt something under the water. It felt like a body or something. And he's on the boat, and he's really scared because he went through the rocks. And everyone, we were just all going, well, where's Mark? And Mike said that he probably went in on the beach. So we decided to go in after a while and just go into the harbor. So we get about 100 yards away from the harbor entrance, and Evan Slater said, hey, there's something in the water, it's real shiny, it looks like a seal. And I go, well, I saw it too, and I go, well, it's not moving. And he goes, I don't know. And I go, hey, you got your wetsuit half on, go in and see what it is. So he jumped off, and he got to Mark, and he starts yelling, hey, Mark's here, we gotta get him. So I said, bring him in. So we brought him into the boat, tried CPR for a little bit, but he went from all the way out of Mavericks all the way into the harbor entrance, which is about how many?
It's like a half mile.
Half mile. And when you're in the water that long, there's no chance that everyone was speculating on what happened, and it doesn't matter because he looked peaceful, and to me it was one of the strangest. I've never faced death like that before, and I looked in his face, and I just saw peacefulness. It was crazy. You know, about 6 months later, his mom and sister came out, and we walked out to the Mavericks beach. And I explained to her what happened. I said, you know, your son just looked really peaceful. It was kind of strange, and that's the first time I've cried since I was a kid, basically. But we all cried. But that's life and death at a place like Mavericks. It does happen, and you have to come to that realization that you're going to face it at some point.
And this was before jet skis were out there.
Yeah, it was.
There wasn't even a jet ski out there.
Hence, one of the main reasons that I think Frank, myself, we got jet skis,
yeah.
And Frank took it a step further, and
yeah, Jeff and I, we formed like a loose rescue unit after that because, like Doug was saying, you just don't keep an eye on it. Now we're at a point where we have 6 or 7 dedicated rescue boat drivers, and we have 2 guys out on the cliff. One of them back there, Dave. They're our cliff spotters. So you can see in those wipeouts, they just look like a little speck in the water, right? you can't see them, because sometimes just their head, the top of their head sticking out, or the board's tombstoning, you're still underwater. Now, we have eyes in the sky, the drone pilots help us out, so God forbid, anything happens again, but I think we're so much more prepared now than we ever were. We have full medical gear bags, trauma bags, every jet ski has tourniquets in it, combat gauze, and we are so prepared now for anything that happens out there. But like Doug said, it was because of that, because it's real life. It's real, I mean, it's fun and it's great, but it's people who die from surfing big waves. It's a known fact, and it still do, no matter what level of safety. So that's why we try to train as much as we can. So yeah, which is great for everybody. Keep everybody alive. Keep all these athletes surfing.
Thanks to Frank, who kept it alive, took it to the next level.
Anybody else? Sure.
Yeah, the jet ski's gone through an evolution. We started as just, yeah, thank you. Have the jet skis gone through an evolution where they started in like a smooth freshwater environment to a dynamic environment like it?
Oh yeah, big time. At first, people were going out on any kind of jet ski, but then the Monterey Bay Sanctuary closed it down to only 3-seater jet skis, and then they just shut it down at all, completely, unless Mavericks was breaking on a day. So the jet ski manufacturers have built these bigger boats, like 3-4 seat jet skis, and then we have jet ski mechanics who actually put, like a jet ski, the way it works is it has an impeller. So it's underneath, it's inside, looks like a jet engine, right? So underneath there's a grate, it sucks the water up through the bottom, and then it shoots it out through the back. So they put a double impeller on it, because if you hit that white water, you heard the guy talking about at the beginning, the skis will not move. They won't move, it's just aerated water, and it needs solid water to go through that pump. So these double impellers now will push the water through it a lot faster, so we can maintain our speed. And the new sleds are a little bit heavier, which kind of keep it down in the water instead of up on the flotation. So yeah, there's been a lot of modifications over the years to help us. So go ahead.
Stripes. They're probably just yellow, but. Thank you, Bill.
In I think it was 2010, there was a wave that sort of decided to come up on the beach. And I wondered if you had any stories about that.
Yeah, that was the big contest. That was actually one of the biggest contests that was ever held. Big wave, the 2010, Doug was out there. I think the average wave of that day was in the mid-50s. I mean, giant waves all day. And we had warned the organizers of the event not to set up on that wall, because they set it up on the half a break wall. If you've been out to Mavericks Beach there, they had actually screwed this big old scaffolding into the concrete wall there, and then they set up their festival on the other side of that. And the waves that day were, the tide was high, the waves were giant, and wave after wave kept coming in, and they were being warned too. That like the announcers were trying to warn everybody that day that don't hang out there. And we were out in the water, so we had no idea what was going on. And one of the surfers came out to surface heat, and he's like, "Oh boy." The whole festival just got wiped out by a 3-day set. But it was like somebody broke their leg. I mean, it was for laugh now, but it was pretty serious. Like everyone got washed into the forebay there, which was, yeah. So after that, we didn't set up there anymore.
Could you tell us how waves are measured?
How are the waves measured?
It's waves are dynamic, so it's not always very accurate. It's not as precise as we would like it to be. So the way we do it, I was on the Billabong XXL judging team. What we'll do is they'll print out the waves. I'm just talking about the contest.
Right.
This contest for as an example. Let's say there's 5 or 6 nominees of the biggest wave, right? So they'll print them out on these big boards, and then they'll measure them with calipers, or they'll stack the surfer, like using Photoshop, they'll stack the surfer, and they also go by the buoys that day. So let's say a big wave, 25 feet at 25 seconds. That's a really big, giant Mavericks day, or a big wave day, because of the interval of 25 seconds. So if you have that on the buoys, you know that the waves are going to be somewhere between the 40 and 60 foot range. So if they measure out close to that, that's an indicator when that really happened. Because if the buoys were smaller, and someone said that was a 100-foot wave, like, nah, because it didn't come through the buoys of the 100-foot wave. So it gives you, they just use all different tools to try to measure it. Like, they're trying right now, the kite surfers, you see these guys kite surf and they fly up in the air, right? They have a little gauge that they wear, and it measures their height. So they're trying to use that technology right now. Because what happens at Mavericks and some of these big wave spots is that as the waves come in, it sucks all the water off the reef. So literally, like where me and Doug sit, we'll be here and the surfers are down here because it sucks so much water from the reef. So that's why it's hard to tell. And all the waves are different because Mavericks has a huge back to the wave. Toto Santos and Jaws, it's big, but it's not as big as Mavericks. So their waves look bigger, but they're the same size. It's just aesthetics, right? So, but yeah, it's a good question, but it's a touchy point because it's hard to get an accurate measurement. It's in the ballpark. Yeah, it's somewhere in the ballpark.
Well, I wanted to follow up on that question because that world record wave from I guess last winter, a lot of us that looked at it in the paper saw the image where they took the multiples of was it Aloe's wave? Or,
yeah.
He was crouched, and they took the number of body heights and then they multiplied it by his height, but he was crouched down in that picture. So when I did the math, it wasn't 127 feet, and I'm surprised. That the Chronicle anyway.
But what we used to do, another thing we used to do in the judging is we would get a guy, or we like let's say Aloe was maybe like 5'8" or something, and then we would get him in the room or somebody in the room at 5'8", and then crouch him down, and then measure how much surfboards is in front of him or behind him, and then square it off, right? They did this for one of the waves at Nazare. They actually hoisted a guy in the air, and they had a big green screen, through the Red Bull thing. So they had a bunch of money to waste doing it. But some guy will say it's a 100-foot wave, the other guy will say it's a 50-foot wave. So it's so all over the place. But what can you say? They're all big. Put it that way. 100-foot, 80-foot, 60-foot. You don't want to get hit by them. Because speaking on that. I don't know if any divers in here. When you dive, right? You go down. Like a surfer gets hit at Mavericks. Let's say they get pushed down 20 feet, 25 feet under the water, right? They're stuck down there because there's so much pressure. And then another wave will come over the top. Let's say that wave's 30 feet or 40 feet big. Now you're under the water at 60 foot of pressure, all this weight, tons and tons of water. So this is, like Doug said, it's super dangerous. And you'll see, like you saw in some of those videos, what happens is they can't come up, but their boards are so buoyant, they'll come up and they'll stick straight up out of the water, and they're connected to their leash at the bottom. And they call it tombstoning, right? It's kind of ironic. They call it tombstoning, and the guys, if they can't come up, they'll climb their leash. They'll like hand over hand just to get up. Even with their vest inflated, still can't come up. It's just there's so much pressure. Because I got hit back in the early days. I was out there, and unlike a surfer, I didn't have a board connected to me, and Jeff Clark had told me, if you get hit, and you're at the bottom and you're stuck, he said, blow bubbles, because it's dark, you can't see, it's pitch dark. So I got held down, I'm a diver, and I was down there just kind of floating around, and I blew the bubbles. I knew it was time to come up, and as I blew the bubbles, thinking I was up, I was upside down. My bubbles went down, so I had to reorient and kick off at the bottom. So yeah, it's pretty hairball sometimes. I promised Doug I wouldn't say the F words. Explain it, I won't say it. Anybody else?
With the weather forecasting for the waves, I know they do a very complicated modeling program. And with climate change, do you foresee that we're going to have bigger waves?
I think it's already happening, actually. And now they're predicting a pretty substantial El Nino winter coming, so the El Nino winters really produce giant waves up here. So, but I think it's already happening, and I think as stewards of being out there all the time, we've seen it change. Like we've just seen the waves get bigger and bigger, so and more violent.
So some of the surfers tow in and some paddle in. Is there a size at which you just can't paddle into the wave safely?
Yeah, 100%. Because what happens when a surfer's paddling into a wave, he has to match the speed of the wave. And you heard me say, like, some of these waves are 40, 35, 40 miles an hour as they're steamrolling in. So that surfer has to be able to paddle fast enough to match that speed to get into that wave. Because what will happen is he'll get hung up here, right? And like you saw some of those wipeouts, and that's where disaster strikes, right? Because they're stuck. So what happens, I would say, 50 feet, 60 feet, or on a really gnarly, scary looking day like we saw in that last video, they'll tow into that. And when we went out to Cortez Bank, it's also an interval thing. If there's going to be a lot, if it's a shorter interval, and there's a lot more waves, they'll tow into it. So just to catch more waves. And speaking about when we were photographers back in the day, we used film. If it was a tow day, how many loads? 30 shots of roll? 36 shots of roll. So right, so as soon as you run out of that last shot and you're changing your film, another set comes in. And he gets the cover shot, nice suck wind. Oh yeah, because you're looking down and everyone's yelling.
The thing is, if you loaded film close to the wave, you get sprayed, chopped, bumped you. So I would go up closer to the buoy outside, and I go, okay, I think it's a good time to go now. So you just jet out to the buoy, I load film, and from the buoy, I could see a huge set come through. I'm going, oh my God, I missed that one. But you know something? You can't get everything. And that's the way I look at life out there, is just that you try to get what you could get, and that's all you can do. You know?
And our cameras only shot like 5 or 6 frames per second. Now our new cameras, our new mirrorless cameras, is like 15, 20. It's like a movie camera. Yeah.
And you don't have to take up half your refrigerator with
Right.
So could you just talk about the bond you must have in the community with people like Doug? Because this is like,
it's
sacred to you guys.
Yeah, no, it's
right. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like we can sit here and say, wow, but we'll never experience it.
Oh, we've all grew up, we've all done this together, we've all been bonded, we've been bonded in life and death, and it's a blessing to have this family. It's a family, like 100%, because there's not very many of us doing it in the world, and it's just, it's been like, I don't know, it's like, I was in the military, I was in the Air Force. I went out to Desert Storm, and the same bond that you build with your military brothers and sisters is the same. It's like being out at war out in these big waves. I mean, you develop it. And like a friend, his kids are just like my kids,
My daughter does work for Frank on occasion.
Yeah, she prints our stickers, a bunch of, right here, she does all these stickers, and grabs some stickers and brings them out.
No, it's Frank's son, my son, my daughter, we're family. I mean, Frank and I have been brothers since the beginning. There were periods where we, have little spats.
That was me,
I had to toughen him up. I mean, no, Frank and I, no matter what happens, we're brothers to the end.
Yeah, I'll tell you one story about that, is when, you heard of Jay Moriarty, right? He did a really good amount. So we were all at Doug's house or a picnic or something, and Captain Clark called us up, and I think he talked to you, right?
Yeah.
He just said, Jay Moriarty died. And it was just like one of our family members.
We were basically crying.
Yeah, devastated.
We're having fun, throwing a frisbee back and forth. Yeah, we're gonna do the barbecue and all that, and then you get that, it's a gut punch.
Just to speak to that moment. Go ahead.
So I have a surfing friend from San Diego who says that Half Moon Bay should be called Mavericks, the town.
And my question is, what role has Mavericks played in big wave surfing, in the development of big wave surfing around the world?
Oh, it's one of the it's hard to even explain to it what Mavericks has meant to big wave surfing. I mean, it's a proving ground for all these other spots. If you can survive Mavericks, you can survive probably most any big wave spot. So yeah, it's been huge, and it still is. Like now these young kids, there's so many young kids coming out and surfing Mavericks. Like, Zoe started at 14. The kids that are out there right now from Santa Cruz, like 14, 15 years old. Like, we had one. Jay was the only one. Now they're Tons of them.
Basically, in the beginning, it was Pacifica, a couple guys from Half Bay, and Santa Cruz. And it was that way for a number of years, and then all of a sudden, some of the Hawaiians came over. Ken Bradshaw, help me out here, Frank. Some of the guys that from Brock Little, and they started showing up, and then the Brazilians came. And that's when it got crazy. Crazy fun, I should say. And then after that, the world took notice to Mavericks, because to me, I've seen waves all over the world that are called big, but nothing like Mavericks at that point. It was the perfect A-frame. You know, it's something you want to see in a small wave, like Frank and I surf 6-foot waves. Perfect A-frame at 40, 50, 60 feet to it, and that's Mavericks.
No, it's special. It's definitely special.
I mean, I used to, my friend and I, when we'd surf the breakwater, we would go drive our vehicle up to above Ross's Cove on a big swell, and we'd see this wave way, way out there. And it was this perfect A-frame, and my buddy would go, somebody in this world is going to surf that wave at some time. And I go, nah, this is too crazy. But eventually Jeff did his thing there and opened the floodgates, and great things happened.
Yeah, they still are. I guess.
How do you guys coordinate with the surfers when they go out surfing, and how do they have a whole crew with them for you guys to?
So it goes back to the weather forecasting, like all surfers and photographers that go out in the big wave world, and even regular surfers, are now definitely amateur forecasters. There's so much information on the internet that we can track these swells probably 2 weeks out. You know, no, it's amazing. It's super amazing. One of the surfers at Mavericks is an actual forecaster. If we think it's going to happen, we verify with him. He's so good, he can pinpoint a swell down to the hour. And then he'll tell you throughout the day, like, when it's going to hit, like, because it'll hit the shipping lanes, and then it'll hit buoys. So you know there's this pulse. Let's say at 3 o'clock, there's this 20-foot pulse that came through this buoy. So what we do is we track the buoys all the way down the coast from 1,200 miles out to 600 miles out to the coastline. So, and that's when you know it's coming. That's when the swell's in the water. But, I mean, let me see if I can pull up real quick. And then we've gone way over our time here, so.
The unfortunate part of wave forecasting is NOAA lost 2 of the most crucial buoys that we use, and that's the 006 and the 059. And we used to time when one buoy would pop and then it would go to the next buoy. So you time that as far as hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, depending on the swell side. And like Frank said, Mark Sponsler, who started this little email thing to certain people to predict waves, and he took it to another level too. But it was we could figure within an hour when it's going to hit.
There's satellites that orbit the Earth, and there's 2 of them that they use. You can see it's the Jason 3. There's another one, and this is Mark's forecast from that big 2024 swell. So this is an animation. This will actually, it's called a global WAM, and this is a government, this is a government feed that he feeds into his data, and it will just show you, and we can watch these things. Once we know it crosses the date line, especially something like that, that's not normal. That's disaster, right? And once we know it's there, we know there's going to be big waves. And this was the leading swell. This happened like 2 days before. It was giant. It was 30 feet, but that was the 100 feet, right? I mean, he didn't catch the 100-foot wave, but there's 100-foot waves coming through that day that were not rideable. So yeah, and this is just one of his models that he uses to track it. So, let's see what else I have. So yeah, and this is his buoy, and you can see how far out. Like, look, from the 16th to the 1st, right? Whatever, December, January. And you never see those kind of spikes. Usually they're in the red or the dark red. But we know it's gonna be a giant day, like, this is the Papa buoy Doug was talking about, it's down now, but when we hit to that buoy, we know it's gonna be big. Cause it's 1,200 miles or 600 miles, and that's, once it hits that buoy, right, so it hits that buoy, it's 12 hours from the next buoy. When it hits the next buoy, the 059, it's another 12 hours, and then we know it's gonna hit Mavericks. So, yeah, there's so many of these tools that we have to use to forecast it. Kind of incredible for a bunch of knuckleheads.
I flunked math probably a few times. But when it came to this is, you realize how important it is to, if you really wanted to do what Frank and I were doing, is you wanted to know exactly when it's gonna hit. So you figured the science out. And thanks to the global WAM, I use that religiously from the beginning, because it painted a clear picture if that storm's gonna cross the date line. And once it does that, then it's game on.
Anybody else? All right, well, thank you so much for having
Let's thank Frank, Mark, his whole team. It's more than a community resource, it's a treasure, right? So there's books for sale up here, grab a sticker, and thank you all for coming, and if you enjoyed yourself, this was all brought to you tonight by the Half Moon Bay History Association.